Libra Sun and Libra Rising, welcome here to the 2027 forecast. I'm so happy to see you. If you're new here, welcome, and if you're returning, I appreciate your support and I hope that you find something helpful to inspire you into a mindful 2027. So many of you have had a galvanizing 2026, Libra. So much has been happening as you tune into the frequency of Pluto and Uranus, which are vibrating at your frequency, the frequency of air. So much is possible for you now using the new tools, the new technology, whether it's social media, AI, or simply opening up to a more mindful way of living with the spiritual energy that is flowing into the planet. And there you are. If you are a Libra Sun, you are forming that beautiful trine with Pluto in Aquarius, Uranus in Gemini. And if you are Libra Rising, you are receiving the same frequency where you can lock in and really appreciate that life is more than you could ever imagine it to be. On top of that, many of you have been pushing through something. Those of you with very early birthdays or early degrees of Libra in your rising sign, approximately 0 Libra to 7 degrees of Libra, you received the transit from Saturn last year in opposition to your Sun or in opposition to your Ascendant. Now 2027 is going to see those of you who have Libra rising between 8 and 27 degrees, or those of you that are born approximately September 30th to October 20th, round about there, you're going to receive the opposition from Saturn this year. The quadrature of Saturn, the way Saturn moves every 7 years around the circle that is your natal chart, is referred to often as the architecture of advance. So how are you going to advance this year, Libra, if you're in the spotlight from Saturn? What does it mean for you? If you're in the zone of degrees that we've mentioned, it means that you are going to be refreshing, reevaluating, and getting ready to move forward to advance on projects or ideas or themes, material movements that you began in 2019 or 2020. That was a seminal year for you. Saturn was in Capricorn. And now as it's in Aries, it's making that quadrature and you having to put your money behind your mouth. You're either finishing up a project or you're starting something new. But regardless, it needs to manifest in the material world. Neptune is still in the early degrees of Aries. It's going to move approximately 1 to 6 degrees of Aries during 2027. So you know the drill by now. If your ascendant is 1 to 6 degrees of Libra, anywhere in between, you're going to receive that look from Neptune. That can feel as if ambition is softening a little, the creativity is coming in, the wish to lead a more mindful life may be coming in, and the more challenging vibration of Neptune can be that something is dissolving in your life. And instead of attacking this head on and trying to challenge or change it, the best approach is to step back and allow yourself to see what's going on a deeper level. If something is dissolving, is it worth fighting for? Is it time to let it go? And what are you meant to learn from this experience? And if your sun is in early Libra, you will also be receiving that transit from Neptune. Now, back to the architecture of advance, Libra, the planet Saturn, you are a cardinal sign and you are an air sign. So you enjoy initiating projects and moving forwards. You're generally not one to wait around, to hang around and let things happen to you. You prefer to go out and make things happen, using the energy of your planetary ruler, Venus, to hopefully smooth the way so that when things do happen, they can happen in a harmonious fashion, which is a win-win situation for all. Whether you're experiencing a transit from Saturn or Neptune this year, it's very, very important to adjust your expectations. We've had a large number of planets move into new signs in 2026. Saturn into Aries, Neptune into Aries, Uranus into Gemini. And it felt exhausting in a way how much we were asked to process the new technology, the AI generation coming in, also with Pluto still settling into Aquarius since 2024. But for you, Libra, it's relatively effortless because you are that air sign and you are that cardinal sign. So instead of passively waiting for things to come to you, you're going out there, whether you're becoming more involved in business or you're consciously choosing to become less involved as this new Saturn cycle begins. Either way, it looks as if you're going to be using technology more in your life and embracing it more so that it can help you and also bring out a slightly creative side, which up until now you might not have had that much opportunity to express. Pluto's traveling through your solar 5th house, asking you to dive into that realm. So enjoy it. Allow a transformation to occur there. And most important of all is Uranus in Gemini for you, Libra, because it's going to be traveling through approximately 1 to 9 degrees during 2027. And this will trine your sun, of course, if you're early Libra, so you're born around September 24th, count 9 days on, you're receiving a trine aspect from Uranus. And of course, if your ascendant is Libra, between 1 and 9 degrees, you will also receive the trine this year. The trine is a flow. It's bringing those downloads. It's allowing you to open yourself to AI, to whatever is happening, and simply to also open yourself to travel, long distance travel, visiting a foreign country, moving to a foreign country, embracing whatever can expand your mind and be new. The other good news for 27, apart from the fact that we won't be having any major planetary ingresses, the only planet that will move signs is Jupiter, will switch signs in the middle of the year from Leo to Virgo. Apart from that, there will be no Venus retrograde periods in 2027, and that's great for you, Libra, because Venus is your chart ruler. And when she's moving direct, things tend to speed along for you. When she's retrograde, it's always time to take stock and to keep a little bit low profile. The planet that will be retrograde, which we need to take note of in 2027, is Mars. While all the outer planets, as well as Jupiter and Saturn, go retrograde regularly, Mars only goes retrograde once every 2 or so years, and we really notice it because Mars is our forward moving planet. When Mars is retrograde, we have to take stock in the areas of the chart where it's going back and forth. It's like a marker pen that is highlighting an area that you need to work on over and over again. And because it's Mars, it says, wait a minute, there might be delays. You want to move forward, but you need to pause a little bit. So the retrograde period will run from January 10 until April 1st. And there will be things coming up for you during those first 3 months of 2027 that you thought you'd left behind, or that you did begin to deal with in the late part of 2026. And the two signs that Mars will be moving through backwards and forwards in the retrograde cycle are Leo and Virgo. So if you're a Libra birthday, get out your chart if you have it and see which houses have Leo and Virgo on the cusp. Those are going to be the main areas of your life that you'll need to work on during the first 3 months of 2027. If you are a Libra ascendant, the areas are going to be the 11th and 12th houses. Friendships, money earned from work, hopes, dreams, groups, aspirations. And the 12th house, which will be more hidden things, things that need to come to light, past life issues, if you are a proponent of that, or occult issues that are deep and below the surface that now are going to ask you to work on them, ask you not to turn away anymore, and to really look and see what's taking place behind the scenes. Jupiter is the final planet I'd like to mention now before we dive in month by month, and that's because Jupiter will also be traveling through Leo and Virgo. So I'm seeing this incredible parallel story here where Jupiter, the expander, the bringer of justice, the bringer of benevolence, also the one who is overseeing transitions from one world to the next. Jupiter is going to be in that house of hopes, dreams, money, friendships. And then it's going to move into that 12th house for you in July of 2027. So that's going to be an adjustment. It will be there for 1 year. So you've got it until August of 2028 when it's going to move into your sign, bringing a lot of bounty. So what is being asked of you in 2027, July, until 2028, August, in terms of your spiritual life? Looks like a time of going deep, a time of processing. For those of you that are involved in law, government, and so on, that's many of you, this could be a time of working acutely behind the scenes to help others to get things done. And of course, many of you are also in the hospitality industry. So Jupiter in Leo, where it's been from July 2026 and will be until July 2027, that's boosting you, that's putting you out there. It's a great energy for you, Libra. You love working with Jupiter in Leo. You can really do all that diplomatic and social work that you're so good at, smoothing the way and trying to find the best solution. So let's dive in month by month, Libra. January. Libra, the first 7 days or so of January look to be intensive. Either you having several heart-to-heart conversations with people, or you're doing something that you love, that is a passion for you. And you might notice recurring themes from October of 2026, when Venus was retrograde in Scorpio from the 3rd to the 25th. After the 7th, things lighten up a little bit. There's a new moon in Capricorn on the 7th of the month. That's very grounding for you. It's a great time to set your intentions, start again, start afresh, as we always do at the new moon. But bear in mind that, of course, Mars is going to go retrograde on the 10th. The other shift of energy that brings a lightening and a brightening is when Venus moves into Sagittarius, right around that new moon. So that's fire to your air. Something's burning brightly now. I see you possibly hanging out with a brother or a sister if you have them, visiting, going places, or starting work around the 7th, getting back into communication, back online, and so on. And when Mars does go retrograde on the 10th, it's no big deal to you because you're prepared. You take a day of adjustment, don't overschedule things, allow for the energy to recalibrate. When Mars is retrograde, we are asked to build within, or to start a new habit or a new pattern. A few days after that Mars retrograde, there's picking up of speed for you on another level because Mercury slips into Aquarius. So it's been in Capricorn for most of the season, and there's always a seriousness for you, Libra, when Mercury is in Capricorn. It's squaring your sun or squaring your ascendant. And then when it slips into Aquarius, we get this lovely air to air once again. It's in a house of creativity for you. Perhaps you writing again or enjoying time with children. It's also a house of romance. Whatever works for you, the air trine is really in effect now because Mercury is in Aquarius, and of course Uranus is in Gemini, and you, Libra, are the other air sign completing that triangle. This air energy builds when the sun enters Aquarius on the 20th. So again, you're stepping out so much more as January gets underway. So don't try to force things at the beginning of the year. There's a gradual build-up and a movement from more serious to more light-hearted. Of course, we have a full moon that will take place on the 22nd, give or take a day on either side of January in Leo. And Leo, of course, is your place of friendship. The Leo full moon is traditionally a good time to feast and be with friends and to party. Whatever you do, whether it's big or small, it really is a reason to celebrate. You've got Jupiter in that house. You might be feeling very expansive. And Mars is still in Virgo, so there's a lot of good energy happening between the Leo houses and the Aquarius houses for you. Celebrate while you can, and as the month winds down, Venus will trine Jupiter on the 28th of the month, and that's lovely for you because again it's fire to fire, Sagittarius to Leo. And fire and air create that combustion, which brings light, which brings life. Money could come in at this time, or it could simply be a feel-good day. Then right at the end of January, the 31st, we're going to have Mercury slip into Pisces, leaving that air zone for you and entering into the watery depths. Now, Mercury in Pisces can feel a little bit of an adjustment for you, Libra. However, it's a creative placement. So Mercury is our mindset planet, and you're invited to kind of loosen up the daily routine at this time, find new ways to express your creativity, and really loosen up. February. And you'll be helped in this new way of being, this new way of doing, because as early as the 2nd of February, Mercury squares Uranus, and that always is an opportunity for a good idea to enter in. However, you are invited to be cautious on this day. Don't rush about. It can be a challenging day for travel simply because there's a lot of energy about, and there's a beautiful energy entering your home around the 3rd of February when your ruling planet Venus is going to dance into Capricorn and be there for the next few weeks, offering grounding and possibly bringing someone you love into the home to visit you, Maybe there's a new addition to the family. Of course, we are building towards the first eclipse season. So the next few days after that Venus ingress will be a time to prepare. The eclipse will take place on the 6th, and always remember when I give a date for a new or a full moon, or even a movement of Venus or Mercury, you always need to adjust for your time zone. So the solar eclipse, which takes place at the new moon, is going to be in Aquarius. Good place for you in terms of, once again, creativity. Sometimes with an eclipse, it can feel very intense the day or two before. It's also dark moon, so take that into account. If you're feeling pressured, if you're feeling down about something or overwhelmed, please speak to a friend. Don't let the energy of the eclipse and the dark moon wipe you out. For many of us, we can develop ways of coping with these kinds of things. Yogic breathing techniques are one helpful example. Please, of course, consult a doctor and only study with a qualified practitioner. But whatever it is that works for you, Tai Chi, yoga, Qigong, there are so many different modalities these days that can help us when we're stressed. And eclipse season can be stressful. So not only do we have modalities, but we also have friends and family. Speak to someone if you need to, and let's envision this beautiful solar eclipse in Aquarius as ushering in a new era of friendship for us, a new era of creativity, and a new era of flow. And we will need our breathing techniques and our calm morning practices, because a couple of days after the solar eclipse, around the 8th, we're going to have Uranus move direct. And that's always a day of adjustment, and it can sometimes jangle our nervous system. So simply be prepared. If you are feeling a little tired on that day, sleep. Don't force it. As a cardinal sign, you tend to keep going when others are dropping. But sometimes it's nice to have an excuse just to put your feet up and have a cup of tea. Mercury will move retrograde on the 9th of February and will be retrograde until the early days of March. So from the 9th onwards, there's another reason to slow down, but not a reason to stop working or to be fearful about anything. Mercury retrogrades are excellent times for catching up, visiting old friends. You know the drill by now. It's going to be in Pisces and Aquarius for you. So Libra, remember, we're going to have retrogrades not only in water signs like we did in 2026. All of them are going to take place in both water and air. That means that you will have a retrograde in your sign this year. So it can be a great opportunity for working on old piled up paperwork, redoing a mortgage, refinancing, going back to things that need that kind of work. But as always, be cautious when you are overloading or rushing. You don't want to rush. You want to slow down and use this as a time of processing, especially because Mars is also retrograde. So from the 9th of February, see what you can do to allow the inward turning energies to have space to work in your life. So the most intensive time of that month for you, Libra, is going to be the 18th to the 20th. Plan to go on a retreat or simply to take care of day-to-day business, but no new projects, no initiation of events at this time. What's happening around then is that on the 18th, Mercury will slip back into Aquarius. The Sun will slip into Pisces, so that's an adjustment for you energetically. And then a couple of days later, on the 20th, there's a full moon lunar eclipse in Virgo. and that's in your 12th solar house. So a time of quietness and a good time to inwardly turn and see what's going on. At that lunar eclipse, Uranus and the Sun will form a square, so there's a lot of spiritual energy pouring into the planet at that time. And then the day after, around the 21st of February, Mars is going to slip back into Leo and enter into that house of friendships for you. Possibly you're going to connect with an old friend over the next month or two. Things may come up from October of 2026 for you, but really it could simply be revisiting an old project, seeing what's coming up, and friendship very, very much in the spotlight. Someone you haven't seen for many years may contact you, and you might have an opportunity to bring their energy into your life once again. March. Libra, we really don't have too much going on in March besides your full moon at the end of the month. So it looks like a wonderful month to process the energy of the eclipses and simply get on with things, preparing for that Mars direct in April. On the 1st of March, we've got Venus moving into Aquarius, your creative place. I'm seeing a lot of energy there for projects coming through you, allowing yourself that creative time. And remember, creativity is so extremely broad, Libra. For you, it could be a creative act just to get dressed in the morning. You are that color conscious and that style conscious that you often bring a creative flair to whatever you do. And on the 3rd of March, there's going to be Mercury moving forward, ending its retrograde period. That's fabulous because it's also in the house of creativity. So either this creative consciousness coming into your life, or maybe your children are coming to visit. You don't know, or you're spending more time with children, or there's a new addition to the family, something of that sort. But there's really something flowing through you at this time, and it lightens the energy, bringing joy, bringing that good feeling. Between the 6th and 7th, Venus will hook up with Pluto, and that's always an invitation to do something intensive and serious, and plan it in advance. If you're painting something, that's the night you're going to stay up all night to complete the project. The one caution is not to insist that others meet you on that same level of intensity. One needs to find your own way to channel the energies of the planets, because sometimes when we don't, we let that energy spill out into arguments with others. And Libra, for you, being in an argument is never a good place. Yes, you're very, very good at winning arguments because you are an air sign, and most of the time you remain emotionally detached from the process, while your partner may be becoming very inflamed. However, this is not a time for that, so find a project that you can sink your teeth into around the 6th or the 7th of March. And the day after that, there's a new moon in Pisces. So that's a reset for you. Great time to go for your annual checkup. Great time to see that everything is in order around the house, in the processes that you make. Also a good time to go out and do some volunteer work. It's a service area for you, and Pisces is a sign which allows us to let go of the ego and to help others who are less fortunate than ourselves. So maybe you can channel some of that energy during this new moon. And the Sun will enter into Aries on the 20th of March. This heralds in the equinox, spring equinox in the north and the autumnal equinox in the south. So use that time to check in. Are you balanced? Do you need more of this or more of that in your life? Are you working too hard? Are you not working enough? that's your check-in date. And it's also a very important time for Libra to check in on relationships. Is your relationship in harmony? Is there something beautiful you can do for your partner at this time to bring greater harmony? Or if you're not in a relationship, maybe reflecting on that. How is that working for you? Libra is a sign that usually thrives on relationship. So this might be a good time for seeing which way the wind is blowing. Maybe gathering some courage and stepping out there. And you will have courage because at that equinox, that sacred day, there's a square between Mercury and Uranus. So it can galvanize you to step out and to have an adventure and just do it mindfully. And then, of course, we're building towards your full moon, Libra. So happy full moon. It's happening on the 22nd of March. It will be a powerful full moon at 1 degree of your sign. Things could come forward on the world stage at this time. And what is going to come forward in your life with both the sun and moon at this initiating phase of the zodiac? Keep calm, and I hope that it's a beautiful full moon for you. And as the month winds down for you around the 26th, Venus is going to slip into Pisces, where she's exalted. She can bring a lot of creative and flowing social energy. So let's see what she brings into your life. Welcome her there. And remember, whenever a planet enters into Pisces or Taurus for you, Libra, that's an adjustment in your energy. If you can calibrate accordingly, everything goes smoothly. If you resist the adjustment, things become hard. That's when people come down with a cold because their immunity is low, because they're resisting whatever is happening. When you can go with that flow and embrace the changes that are coming in energetically, that's when we stay healthy and keep moving on. April. April is a forward-moving month, Libra. We've got Mars moving direct on the 1st and Jupiter moving direct on the 12th, both in your place of dreams, hopes, accolades earned from work, money earned from work, and friendships. So what will start to move forward for you at this time? You will know. For each of us, it will be slightly different. So study your charts and see which house has Leo on. That's where the action is going to be for April. Allow the 1st to be a day of adjustment with Mars's forward movement. And then on the 3rd of the month, we have the first of a beautiful aspect that will affect everyone of Jupiter trining Saturn. This is going to take place fire to fire, Leo to Aries. And I mention it here because it's in a harmonious relationship to your sun, Libra, or to your Ascendant. So you will feel that as a gentle background hum. Should be good for the world. We hope so. And of course, we're going to have a new moon a few days after that, on the 6th, and it will be a new moon in Aries, energizing your house of partnerships. This could be both your personal long-term relationships and your business partnerships. So is there something that you're going to initiate there, especially with Mercury now direct, Mars now direct, which rules your house of relationships, and Jupiter about to turn direct. So perhaps you want to wait until the 12th of April when Jupiter will make that station. And just remember, Jupiter is a slow-moving planet. It's going to take a couple of days to even begin to pick up speed. So be patient. Jupiter does deliver, but often the fruits take a long time to manifest because it is such a slow-moving planet. Other important dates for April will be the period of the 20th to the 25th. 20th is jam-packed. We've got Venus moving into Aries, so bringing good energy into your house of partnerships. We've also got the Sun moving into Taurus, which will be a quieter place for you. And then we're going to have a full moon in Scorpio straight after that, also around the 20th. So that's energizing money, finances, self-worth. And the interesting thing, Libra, is we're going to have 2 full moons in Scorpio this year. So this one is taking place at 0 degrees of Scorpio, and it's really energizing that money house for you. Sun is in the house of other people's money. So what's in the spotlight there? Is it tax season? Do you need to take care of things? What about partnerships? Something is really coming up around those 2 themes, and you will know what to do at this time. A few days after that full moon, Venus will hook up with Neptune around the 24th, the 25th. You'll feel that energy even on the 23rd. That's good for creative projects. It's good for sometimes just zoning out, watching a film, watching a movie, listening to music, putting your feet up, whatever you like to do. And this heralds in Mercury's move into Taurus, which will take place around the 25th. So that's again that quiet place for you, that time of adjustment. So let Mercury do its thing. It's leaving your house of relationships and it's going into an area asking you to explore the deeper things of life. It's the transformation house. So see where you can honor that. Also getting practical, cleaning out that studio and doing some work there, or allowing ideas to really start to turn into a reality at this time. May. Libra, May looks to be a very, very fast-moving month with a lot of opportunities for you. Opportunity to travel potentially, opportunities at work, opportunities to work with finances or get more money coming in, as well as this opportunity to work on the inner life, on something that is more quiet and feeding the soul rather than the coffers. So let's take a look. May begins around the 6th astrologically with that new moon in Taurus. And of course, there's going to be a full moon, the second one in Scorpio. Now for you, those are the money houses, Libra. So you'll know what's going on there. Are you entering into a new business partnership? Is something cementing? There really seems to be a spotlight on the financial realm. And this is also interesting because on the 6th and the 7th of the month, Venus and Saturn are going to hook up. Now, Venus is the money planet and Saturn is the planet of business. So when they get together, you could cement a business deal. Things could get serious at this time. And Saturn brings that glue, which might also enable you to commit to a relationship, finally, because it's happening in your house of relationships. Sometimes Libra are slow to the marriage aisle, and this might really be the time when you decide to tie the knot and you're going to be walking down the aisle with someone. Regardless, this really is a good start to the month in that you can ground and be serious in a good way about something. On the 8th of May, Mercury will move into Gemini, igniting your house of long-distance travel and higher learning. So in other words, not elementary school learning, but those studies that you do in university or beyond, those esoteric studies that you're interested in. So on the 8th, Mercury's moving in. A couple of days later, around the 11th, it will hook up with Maverick Uranus. Really good time to be moving about, to be opening yourself to new influences. And for the rest of the month, there is that great travel opportunity. So see what comes your way and don't be afraid to initiate something. As we know, Mars has been moving direct through Leo since April 1st, and now it's going to enter into Virgo around the 14th or the 15th. It's slipping in there. That's your solar house, which is a quiet place. And at the same time, we've also got Venus slipping into Taurus, which is also a relatively quiet place for you, Libra. So perhaps you are going on a trip which is a deeper kind of journey, a journey into your own soul. Maybe you're going on a retreat, or you're traveling to a destination for religious reasons. Whatever the case, there are opportunities to now spend more time alone and to process a lot of what is going on. The sun will enter into Gemini on the 21st, again shining a light on you. Gemini is an air sign. You are an air sign. So you receive that vitality. Another good aspect for travel and for getting around and about at this time. And then right at the end of May, we're going to have Mercury, the mindset planet, which has been in that quiet place for you, move into Cancer. And that is the place of work. Great time to put something out on social media, on the world stage, whatever you need to do at this time, bearing in mind that Mercury is going to move retrograde in that area of your chart and slip back into Gemini, your house of travel. So you might be returning and you might be doing that trip at the end of May and on into June if it's a place that you are returning to. Or it might be that a project that you initiate at work in late May is going to come back to be reworked in June. The month of May ends with a Venus-Jupiter square. So that's quite an important aspect for you, Libra, because Venus is your ruling planet. Perhaps you have to push through an obstacle in terms of some finances, money coming in, maybe you asking for a raise at this time, and that takes courage. Or maybe you're simply working through something which has to do with a friendship, or you're helping out a partner with their money. But regardless, something good can come of this. So don't be shy to move forward and to ask what you are worth. June. Mars will continue in Libra for all of June. So you are preparing for July 15th when it moves into your sign. We spoke about this in the introduction. What needs processing now? What are you preparing for? And we have a beautiful new moon, and it's going to be in Gemini, in that house of expansion for you. So I see you gathered with loved ones, possibly people from far and wide, and enjoying this very lovely, fresh, new energy that the moon in Gemini always brings. And a few days later, around the 8th of June, Venus is going to enter into Gemini, bringing more good energy into the travel and higher learning arena, and also just simply bringing good energy, because when Venus is in Gemini, she's trining your ascendant or she's trining your sun, and it feels good to you. Social time, you love to communicate with others. This is a good time for setting up meetings, for getting out and about. She is joining the Sun and Uranus, which are already in that house. And there's a lot of energy now for really cementing those deals and expanding your business. If you're in that frame where you're growing your business, this is a good time for that. And then, of course, you have those expansive tendencies until the 10th of July, which is when Mercury will go retrograde for its second retrograde period of the year. It's going to begin in Cancer and move back to Gemini. So some projects are going back to the drawing board, but overall it looks like a very productive retrograde for you, Libra. You are moving through things at work. Even if you're working part-time or you're going on a holiday and a trip, but you're also juggling work behind the scenes on your laptop or something of that nature, you can get a lot done. You're troubleshooting, you're figuring things out, you're probably helping others, as you always do, with their technical issues. and various other things. So greet that retrograde with a good energy and a good vibe. And we are building towards a magnificent full moon in Sagittarius on the 18th of the month. And that's going to be in an area for you to do with communication. So even though Mercury is retrograde, no worries. You keep things going. Sagittarius is about being with others and possibly having a good meal together during this full moon. Very, very good energy about. And it looks like the party doesn't stop, because a few days after that full moon, we've got the solstice. The sun moves into Cancer on the 21st. It's a reset for the world, and all possibilities are available at this time. We receive this beautiful solar light which can energize us at this time, and it's in the place of work for you, Libra. So make hay while that sun is shining in your place of work, and it will be there for the next 3 to 4 weeks. So you're invited to enjoy that energy, light in that house. It could also be to do with a parent if you're not working at this time, or simply to do with your external status, getting out and about, and sometimes also the home, because in astrology those two houses are working together. And around the 28th of June, we have that Neptune square the sun. It's going to feel like a dreamy day. So possibly you can take a day off and go to the beach or celebrate something that's appropriate to your climate at this time. Libra, we've covered so much today, and I feel that I'm going to make a part 2 to cover July to December, because there is just an enormous amount of information that one needs to process, and we will gather together again. So if you could find it to like and subscribe this video, it helps me to grow the channel. I appreciate it, and leave me that comment. I look forward to reading it. Until next time.